Hi YouTube, with a slight camera upgrade I decided it was time for another review since I haven't done one in months. So today I'm doing it on my beautiful Smith & Wesson 1911 Tactical. I think this is probably the best looking of the newer tactical 1911s because of those serrations, and I think that external extractor looks pretty good. But anyway, we'll get to those. I have them right here in the talking points. So start off for use, I have home defense, concealed carry, recreation. For me, it's pretty much just recreation. I've shot this a little bit in some competition and everything, but most guys that conceal carry 1911s, I don't know if they would carry a full size. Some do. They like it for the thin profile, as you can see here. Me, I have a Car CM9 that's lighter than this, that's just as thin as this. It has a lower round count, lower caliber, I know, but I carry it so much more. I don't think I would. I just don't. I didn't buy this for the reason of concealed carry. I bought it mostly for recreation because it is so fun to shoot. There really is nothing like shooting a 1911. That's definitely true. And for home defense, you could easily mount a light or laser to that rail that's integrated right here, but I'll get to that later. So included in the box, standard stuff. I guess the main things to mention, this one comes with this bushing tool. Since it has a full-length guide rod and this plug isn't flat, it makes it a little bit trickier. I usually use the bottom of a magazine to push on it, the bottom of one of these, but it's included with that bushing. It comes with 2 8-round mags. I can't tell if these are ACT or Checkmate, but these work. I had some other magazines before that had some troubles, and I'll mention that, but I think it's because of these feed lips. These are referred to as hybrid feed lips. I'm not going to go into all the details of what the feed lips are different, but with 1911s, they get to be a little bit picky, and when you buy one, you may notice that, or maybe you'll get one that runs better than mine has, but mine's picky about mags, but we'll get there. Okay, and then weight, I have 40.5 ounces empty. That's pretty standard 1911 government size. If you get one of these, you should know what you're getting into. It's a big block of steel. I believe this one's fully forged. I mean, everything on it's pretty much everything on it's fully forged. Maybe the slide stop is memmed, I'm not sure, but it's got polish feed ramp and stuff in there. You know, all the other standard stuff, and it's fully forged, which was another reason I kind of wanted to get this one. I really like how it looks. I think it's fantastic. It's very solidly built. It's 40.5 ounces empty. That's pretty standard 1911. So just if you're buying one, you should know what you're getting into. They're heavy, but that also helps with 45 because it really absorbs a lot of that recoil. Okay, so then calibers. 45 ACP. That's pretty standard 1911. They have some Pro Series models that have the different calibers. The main difference I've seen with the Pro Series models, maybe they have a more attention to detail, but aesthetically, the main difference is they have rear slide serrations. I haven't seen any or very few with forward slide serrations. They pretty much all just have them back here. But they're made as Pro Series guns, so maybe they shoot a little better. I think they're more designed for competition shooting and people that want to do that, or I guess possibly concealed carry since it's possibly a little lighter. But this is the non-Pro Series one. This is just the standard tactical. So getting to the ergonomics, I mean, you're going to know what you're getting into with the 1911. I guess for me, it has the flat mainspring housing. I put on these grips. I got these from Jimmy the Grip on eBay. They're made from G10, which is what VZ makes a lot of their grips from. I think he called these Tiger Stripe. I think they look awesome. They really look great on this stainless gun here. It's fantastic. When you get a 1911, changing grips is not difficult. I mean, it's just literally taking 2 screws out, which I forgot to mention. These are also from VZ. You can see right there. I think they're called their Radian screws or something like that, radioactive. But it adds a little bit more character to it. To change the grips on a 1911, it's very easy. Just pop those screws out, put new grips on. Just make sure they fit really. And, I mean, they pretty much should fit. But that's it with the ergonomics. With the 1911, you're going to get a very slim grip. I've actually taught a couple females how to shoot on this gun just because the grip really is small. It may seem like a very heavy gun to them, but they're going to be, I guess, much more tolerant of the recoil this gives them compared to something else. Anytime somebody sees my little car CM9, they think, oh, cute gun, it probably doesn't recoil that much. Well, that's not really the case, because it shoots 9mm and the gun itself is pretty small. So it's quite snappy, whereas this one, it absorbs a lot, and I shoot pretty much only my hand loads, so I make them really light, but I'll get to that later. Okay, sights I have, it comes with three-dot tritium sights. I'll probably swap it for target sights, because for me, I don't need this for home defense. I mean, the tritiums are great, they're very bright. The U in the back is pretty big. I kind of want a bigger notch, because since I'm mostly shooting this for recreation, I don't necessarily need night sights. I'll probably end up selling these night sights and getting some good target sights from Kimber or something. I had a friend with a Kimber Match 1911 that had great sights on it, but probably swap those out just because of my purpose of use. If you're going to use it for home defense or for concealed carry or something, I think the 3-dot tritium sights will work just fine for you. All right, trigger out of the box is about 5 pounds. I added a Wilson combat spring kit from Midway. It was about $20. It lowered my trigger to about 3 or 3.5 pounds, but the Wilson combat included 2 sets of, one mainspring, which is here. That's really the main one that lowers your weight of trigger pull. But mainspring, then your firing pin spring, which goes in back here. I think that's because the hammer's going to hit the firing pin lighter, and so it needs a lower spring to where it'll actually, fire everything. I still haven't gotten a failure to fire, so that's good. And it comes with 2 recoil springs, which is right under here. It comes with an 18-pound and a 10-pound, I believe, or maybe it's an 18.5, but one's really stout, one's not. The 10 is mostly for for competition shooters that run really, really light hand loads in their guns, and they want to make sure that they function just fine. So mainspring goes right in there. I'm running the 18-pound one right now in here that came with it, and then I've got the mainspring here and the other one here, and it really lowered this trigger pull. And anybody that's familiar with 1911s knows that's just one buttery trigger, and I guess I'll show you the reset too. It's very short, just what you'd expect from a 1911. Very, very short. And again, and that's it. Great trigger on this gun. Love the trigger on this gun. It was already really good out the box, but I think adding that Wilson kit really made it a lot more useful. You might hear my dog walking around. Just a heads up if you hear clanking stuff, that's not the gun, it's my dog. So then, let's see, I have any 1911 will have a good trigger. Yeah, for the most part. I mean, the way they're designed, since they're single action only, all this is doing is releasing the sear on that hammer, as opposed to a double single action gun, which you can pull the trigger and it'll also bring the hammer back. That's why you get so much resistance. But see, this is single action only, so straight back, it just drops it, that's it. Obviously it's still semi-auto, but that hammer has to be back first. Most people that conceal carry it condition, I guess you call it condition 2. One in the chamber with the safety up, cocked and locked as they call it. So then all you'd have to do is this and that. And it has a grip safety too, but I'll get there. Okay. Then I have the accessory rail. It's great for mounting lights, and it's low profile, and it really doesn't prevent it being used in a lot of holsters. This is the one I mainly store it in. I forget what these are. I buy one of these pretty much for every one of my guns. I buy it at a local store, but it's got felt on the inside, or maybe that's microfiber. It doesn't scratch the finish. When I'm storing this gun, it sits like this, has an extra spot for a mag. I usually stick the bushing wrench like this in here, and then put the mag on top of it, and that way it's all together. And it fits in there great, and that works to protect the finish. I don't want to make this beauty rust. Also holsters, I got a Phobos dual mag holster, just for carrying spare mags, just like this. Pretty sweet. And that's just a paddle holster. It just fits over your waist or your belt or whatever. And then I've got the Phobos Kimber railed 1911 holster. Obviously I don't have a Kimber, but mine is railed. So to make it fit, it has to be in there like that. But that's a pretty tight fit. I will say it's a little rough on the finish. I don't mind my guns having a little bit of wear, but I don't know if you can see it right there. There's a slight bit of wear on the top of the slide there. But for the most part, it's a great holster. I like how it holds onto my body tightly, and it's really cheap. I liked how cheap this one was. I think I ordered it online for 25 bucks or something. That's a pretty good holster for how much that is. So I guess I didn't mention this in grip. I'll go back and do it. I don't edit my videos, I just do them once, so this is what you get. It does have an ambi safety. You can see it on both sides. Ambi meaning ambidextrous. It's on both sides, so if you're a lefty shooter, you can still activate that safety on either side, which is nice. It has a very, very good positive lockup too. I mean, you know when that safety's on. Very precise snap. Some lower range 1911s, I guess I would say, don't have as positive of a click with the safety. It's a little bit mushy, so you don't know exactly when it's on or when it's off. But this one's really good. I like back here, as far as ergonomics, I don't know if they needed the serrations on the back of the slide by the sights. They're supposed to prevent glare from sunlight, so are the ones on the top right here. I don't really know if it actually does that, but I think it looks awesome. It's really cool when you look back here and see that. You probably are like, wait a second, isn't that where the extractor goes? Shouldn't it go right there? This one has an external extractor. Smith & Wesson's been making their 1911s like this forever. I guess pretty much since they've been making them. I know Kimber tried to make an external extractor, but it was different. It was mounted this way, and it came out, and they had some difficulties. A lot of people didn't like them, so I'm pretty sure they stopped making them. This one has a stake roll pin right there, and has a coil spring right there at the back under that serration. For me, it's worked great. I've never really had a failure to eject. That always seems to work for me. A lot of early Smith & Wesson 1911 users had difficulty because this pin wasn't staked. It was just popped in there, and it would actually work its way down into the frame and cause the gun to jam up. And obviously, that's pretty catastrophic. That's not something you want. But since then, Smith & Wesson has improved the extractor, and I think it works a lot better like this. Like I said, I haven't had any failure to eject difficulties. It's always seemed to work. So, and then the serrations, those are really the three main things that brought me to this gun. It also does have a full-length guide rod. I'm sure you noticed that. Some of the other 1911s have a flat plug here and just have the small GI, I guess they refer to it as the USGI guide rod, which is a lot smaller. But anyway, and it also comes with a commander hammer. Pretty much all of them do. Full beaver tail. I like that it has this memory bump here because I usually hold a grip on top of the safety. That's generally how you're supposed to do it with 1911s. But I hold on top of the safety, and you got to make sure you engage this grip safety good enough, or obviously you know it's not going to fire. So I do like that a lot. Anyway, moving right along. Yeah, I guess I didn't mention much about the accessory rail besides it fitting in holsters. It'd be good for mounting any light. I have a TLR1S on my Beretta. On that other video y'all have seen, that fits just fine on here, locks up tightly, easy to actuate the controls. Has 3 different positions here, so if you want to mount a laser and make it closer or farther away, go for it. I guess you could also fit the Crimson Trace laser grips, since this is a 1911. I mean, that would be an option too. But as far as the rail goes, I think it looks really good. The ones that Springfield has on their guns and Kimber have on their guns also look great. Some of the Wilsons look really good. I think the Taurus rails on their guns are a little bit crude. They kind of bump down here and then come across, and I think it kind of looks dinky in my opinion. It doesn't look as flush and sleek as this one does. It just looks great. Look at that thing. Anyway, moving on to accuracy. I mean, standard 1911, basically if you have a tight bushing to barrel fit that your right there where your gun fits together, if that's tight, it's going to be accurate. As you can see, this one also has a flush barrel to bushing fit. Some of the other ones have the barrel sticking out just a little bit beyond this bushing. This one's flush. I think it looks great. Looks really good on this gun, but that's also another thing for just aesthetics. It doesn't really provide much, but accuracy out of this gun, I haven't done any intense accuracy test. I'd say, I mean, whatever, I guess, what's the standard for pistols? Like, you know, 1 inch at 25 yards or something like that, or maybe less than that. I mean, it'd be really good. This is a really tight fitted gun. There's barely any play. You can hear it just slightly, tiny bit of movement. I've also shot this thing a few thousand times, so it's definitely worn in. Reliability, picky about magazines, at least mine was. Comes with the standard ACT or Checkmate mags. I can't tell which brand they are because it doesn't have anything on it. It just says 45 ACP. But these mags run awesome. They have the same follower as these other Checkmate mags I bought, as you can see. So I guess they're Checkmate mags. I don't know. Has the same patent number and stuff on them, so I guess they are Checkmate mags. But those run 100%. Before, I had bought some of the Chip McCormick 10 rounders. I wanted to get 10 round mags because they're very good for competition. Guys like to use them because 10 rounds is a very, very good round number. 8 rounds is a little bit odd. Some guys have difficulty running those in competition because you got to reload so much. But the 10 round ones work great. I had run the 10 round Chip McCormick mags in my gun for a little while. I didn't like them. The feed lips were a little bit different. They ended sooner and they popped out sooner. There wasn't a taper. They were parallel or wad cutter feed lips. I don't know if you know a lot about 1911 magazines, but that's how they were set up. They would jam almost every time. I'd get failures to failure to chamber, I guess. It would jam up, slide forward like this. The bullet would come up into the barrel hood and jam up, and I'd have to, work it out. But since buying these 10 round Checkmate mags, as you can see, Checkmate right there, these work awesome. They work just as well as those. A little break it in. Finally, the springs got some tension off of it, and it runs. Accessories. Standard 1911, there are so many accessories out there. I mean, really, there's so many accessories out there, it really doesn't matter. What you want to do, if you want to do anything, it's possible with this gun. I may add a mag well to this gun, and I'll probably change out the sights. Those will be probably the 2 main things I do differently, besides just leaving it like it is. Looks beautiful, look at that. And it just runs, it runs great. So, price for mine, I guess this is where it gets hairy. I got it at $11.99 locally, and I put worth it. It definitely was worth it in my opinion. This was my first 1911, and once you buy a 1911, I mean, you're really just, everything else is just going to come secondary. I mean, other ones are fun to shoot, but there's nothing like looking down that thin profile, know you're slinging out one of those, and that buttery trigger. That's it, man. That's 1911 right there. But I've seen this exact gun on Bud's Gun Shop for cheaper. They also have the black version. I think it's the melanite finish that they also use on their M&Ps, but I'm not positive. But it also looks awesome. And they come with standard wood grips that say E on them for E series, which is their enhanced series, which I guess I could mention that too. The main difference I've seen is this larger extractor. I forget exactly what the other ones have. I think the older ones may have not had these fish scale serrations. They were just vertical or slightly canted. I'm not positive, but I like the E-Series guns. They're good. Bud's has them for a little over $1,000. I think they're $1,049 or $1,039 as of now. But if you're looking for a good starting 1911 that's fun to shoot all the time, good for home defense because of this rail, has accessories plentiful. I guess any 1911 would, but I love this one. They also have a Commander model, which means the barrel's shorter. It's actually a 4.25 or 4 inch as opposed to a 5, so it'd be a little bit shorter. The frame would be a little shorter, but they have that in a scandium frame. Scandium is Smith & Wesson's lightweight alloy, and that would also be a good option. That's more geared to concealed carry. The recoil is going to be slightly snappier since it weighs less. But good home defense, standard 1911. That's so fun to shoot. That looks really, really good and works. Can't go wrong. I guess I have overall at the bottom. I'd probably say the only thing about this gun that annoyed me was how difficult it was to get magazines that worked. Standard ones worked. Anytime you put a 10 round mag in a 1911, it's going to be slightly picky. So, I mean, I guess I'll just roll with that. I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10 just because this thing is so fun to shoot. Those Chip McCormick mags were expensive. I wish it had run with those, but even though it didn't, I sold those to a friend. I got the Checkmate mags. Now all is well. So, not too many complaints, but anyway, this is Big Apple signing out. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, comments, leave them down there, on the paper below the video, and I'll reply to you as soon as I can. Thank you.